rise and fall, and round. The ebb and flow of dancing a waltz has its ups and downs. Today we're going to be going through some key aspects which should help everyone and anyone add a bit of polish to their waltz. Let's go! Hello and welcome to the Dancer's Hideout, the place where you'll find all the tips and tricks to help you and your dancing. My name's Ian, I'm a professional teacher and former competitor with over 30 years of dancing experience and teaching. In today's video we're going to be covering some key elements that are involved when dancing a waltz. Covering things like rise and fall, turns, and that classic figure, the whisk. So I hope you're ready.
Hold on to your butts.
Waltz, or English waltz as it's more traditionally known as, is the slowest of all the ballroom dances with its 3/4 time signature. Classically known by anybody that's familiar with hearing somebody counting a waltz out, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3. This timing is synonymous with waltz, which makes it a lot easier to keep the correct timing when you're dancing steps that are in a waltz, as most waltz figures have either 3 steps or 6 steps to them. Some defining characteristics of a waltz would be it uses a lot of rising and lowering actions, and it also uses a lot of turning movements as well, which when coupled together with step patterns results in a dance that gradually progresses itself around the floor. In Alex Moore's book Ballroom Dancing, he describes for the reader the clear components that are involved when dancing a waltz. The steps of the modern waltz are probably the easiest of the present day dances to learn. Steps, however, are by no means the most important factor in modern dancing, and the dancer must pay very careful attention to several other details before the delightful rhythmic swing and lilt of the dance can be captured. He continues by saying, the correct use of contra-body movement resulting in an easy swing of the body into the turns, the correct relaxing and straightening of the knees in conjunction with the rises and the controlled use of body sways all play their part in producing a dance that is continuously flowing with a rhythmic, lilting movement. For any further details on contra-body movement, you can click the link on the screen and that will show you the video that we've done in full of CBM and CBMP. Because waltz is a dance which uses a lot of rising and lowering actions, let's have a look at how we can get a better understanding of how we use this. A quick disclaimer here.
Wait, let me tell you something, Alright. Let me tell you something!
I personally use the use of rising and lowering when I talk about the rise and fall technique, because I don't really like the connotation that is thought about when you think about falling, for instance. Especially so within a social dancing context. So you will hear me use the term rising and lowering instead of rise and fall. It's technically the same thing, but I personally prefer to use the term as opposed to falling, because it connotates the idea, the fact that we're having an aspect of control when we're dancing these forms of movements. Whereas it's easier to create a falling action without even needing to think about it.
Julian!
So consider this a jam donut. We can call it whatever we want as long as we know what we're on about. There are 2 types of rising and lowering actions. For rising actions, we can rise through the legs and then through the feet. And for the lowering actions, we can also lower through the legs and through the feet. Let's look at an exercise to help demonstrate this. As you can see here, we're commencing in a flat foot position with the weight 50-50 and the legs flexed. If we were to liken this to a hotel analogy, this would be the car park level, or -1. As we were to rise through the legs and straighten the knee, and obviously making sure that we're keeping our feet flat, this would take us to reception level, or 0 position. As we press our feet into the floor and push into the balls of our feet to create the rising movement through our feet, this would take us into the first floor of our hotel analogy, or +1 position. To do the reverse option here, as we lower down through our feet, we would go from first floor of our hotel analogy down to reception level. As we continue to lower by flexing into the knees, we would drop down to car park level, or -1. Here's the same action but shown from the side. Feel free to pause the video here and practice it a few times if you want to.
A few moments later.
Note here that I did say flex and not bend. These two actions are different from one another. One is a flexion, which means that we're going to be able to maintain our posture in the correct position. The other one, with it being a bending action, bending the knees or bending the legs at the knees, would create a distortion within our posture in the way that we're holding ourselves, and we would also stick our bum out.
Oh my.
I will be doing a video of this in the future. For now, just know that the flexing action is done by sending the knees forward because we're trying to maintain our posture. By using this exercise, you'll be able to improve the actions that you're trying to create through rising through your legs and feet, and subsequently the lowering actions through the feet and through the legs, to be able to create a better awareness within the actual overall movement you're trying to do, and so create clearer dancing. Amazing! So, let's take a look at the Whisk figure now, and break down how we can use the rising and lowering actions within this figure to help improve the way that we dance this movement. This figure is used by beginner level dancers, and it's also used by advanced level dancers as well. So even though the details of the figure itself might slightly change, the overall concept of the way that you are moving yourself, and particularly using the rising and lowering quality that we're talking about today, will be the same. Here, I'm showing the Whisk action taken from the leader's perspective. The first step is taken on the left foot moving forward and is danced using the footwork heel flat. It's also danced in the carpet level or -1. Step 2 is placed on the inside of the toe, my right toe here, and the leg prepares for its extension. As I push from my left foot to my right foot, I pass through reception level and hit a 50-50 position on the two balls of the feet on the first floor of our hotel analogy, or +1 position. For step 3, I whisk my left foot behind my right foot whilst remaining up on my right foot. I then lower onto my left foot using the ball of the foot and then the flat foot position, passing from the first floor of our hotel through reception area, and then as I flex into the left knee and prepare to take the following step, I pass back through into the car park level or -1. For the lady step here, you would commence with your weight on the left foot and start using your right foot to step backwards with. The video here helps to show the lady's version of this action. You would then follow the exact same application of actions through the legs and feet shown from the leader's example, but in an opposing way, meaning that if you see the leaders using their right foot, you will use your left foot, ladies. To close on this section, let's look at an extract taken from Oliver Wessel Therhorn's book, The Irvine Legacy. Here, on the topic of rising and lowering, he mentions that lowering shortens the distance between shin bone and foot to increase pressure to the floor and build up static energy. When this static energy is released, we achieve kinetic energy. We move spatially. It is essential that the body is exactly in a vertical line over the weight carrying the foot on which we want to lower, and not outside the foot. The second type of movements which are characteristic to a waltz are turns. Generally speaking, a lot of figures which are used within the waltz have a turning quality to them because it's a big characteristic of dancing a waltz. Some examples of these figures which are danced right from the beginner level all the way up to some form of advanced or competitive level would be the natural turn, reverse turn, and spins of some description, as well as weaves from promenade position, just to name a few. Figures like these, and many more that are like them, have a turning quality in them. The point to really illustrate here is that if a figure is turning, such as through its step pattern like a natural turn for instance, or within a specific part of the figure, such as like a spin turn where you create a spin action, then the idea of progression should not be there. A lot of the time dancers will try and move steps which should actually be a lot more focused on turning themselves or their partner, and instead they're trying to create some form of progression. And this either creates a problem for the partner, or for the dancer, or for the choreography that they're using as a whole. They can't continue the dance. So an easy rule to remember would be this: if a figure turns in some way or another, then you shouldn't be trying to move those steps. Easy enough, right?
Nice.
If you move the steps that should be turning or spinning, and it's creating a problem that's sort of along these lines, but you're not sure why,
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
then that'll be why. Steps taken to facilitate progression and movement, or rising and lowering like we're talking about today, or turns and spins of some description, all require the body weight and the balancing aspects of the body to be in the correct alignment as you produce that form of movement. If the dance step which you're about to do has the body balanced and poised, ready to move into some form of turning action, such as a weave from promenade for instance, and you try to power with like a forceful driving action of some description all the way through it, you're either going to create a problem for yourself, physically or choreographically, or worse, you'll cause an issue for your partner.
I'm in danger!
Maybel Elsworth Todd's book, The Thinking Body, helps to illustrate the coordinated movement and balancing forces. She says, "The alignment of the ankle bone is as dependent upon the muscles above as on those below. The body is a unit and each part depends upon its fellow, no part being fixed. Muscles act on their bony levers to affect balance. Their response must meet the two main necessities, mechanical action and muscular coordination." This statement poignantly points out that for every action there is a subsequent reaction, and for us as dancers that means that mechanical actions and muscular coordination are very important. She closes this part of the book by saying, "These two principles must be coincident in time, space, movement, for smooth balance and controlled action. The combination of using rising and lowering actions combined with the appropriate use of turning actions should allow any dancer of any level to know more clearly how they can more effectively and easily move themselves and how that can be applied to their own dancing steps." I hope today's video has helped shed some light on some of those characteristics of waltz, and that you've managed to get a little bit more clarity on some of those actions that we've just gone through today. If you've enjoyed this video today, be sure to give us a like. I would really appreciate it, of course. If you'd like to see more from the Dancers Hideout, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ding the bell icon to keep notified for whenever we're putting out some new content and videos. You can also drop down in the comments section below anything that you found interesting or informative, or anything that you want to maybe see in a future video, for instance. You can also more actively get involved with what we're doing here at the Dancers Hideout by contributing to the production of what we do here via our GoFundMe page, which there'll be a link for down in the description section. Any contributions obviously would be greatly appreciated, and we can obviously list you in our credits section at the end of the video. In the meantime, I've been Ian, this is Dancers Hideout, and it's been a pleasure.